Hello there everyone, I'm Christina of CSLdesigns and today I'm going to show you how to make these beaded square knot weave macrame bracelets. And these are the three that I made here just to show you the different effects you can get with the same basic technique, because what I've done is on the first one here I just used a single colour of cord and you get this effect, but you can still see the weave sections on the side. And then this one in the middle here I used two different colours of cord. You can see you get a completely different effect as well with that. And on the third one, the one with blue colours, I've used three different colours of cord for that, so you can really see the different effects you can get depending how you choose to mix your materials up. But then, these are the bracelets that I made. And it then sits a little something like this on your wrist, so you can see those weaved cords on the sides give a really nice effect all the way along, but at the same time we have those beads running all the way through the middle, just giving that nice little bit of extra touch to it. Now I chose to finish off my bracelets using these cordons here, and then I've attached findings to them. It gives a nice professional finish, but you can also easily choose something like a macrame finish, a sliding knot. It's completely up to you and your personal preference. But this is then how mine have ended up using these materials here. So I'm using a 1mm satin cord on all of them and then 3mm round beads. Now you can mix up your materials differently if you want to. You don't have to use these specific ones. So for instance, you can use some different beads and also different size. You could maybe use 4mm rounds instead of 3mm rounds. It will create a bit more spacing between them and also open up the weaved sections on the side a bit more. But again, it's complete personal preference and also down to what you have available really. But then if you want to learn how to make these bracelets, they're pretty quick and easy to do. Then stay tuned. So these are the materials that we're going to need. The cord that I'm using is this 1mm satin cord. You can use a different kind of cord, just be aware you might get a slightly different result. And also I'm using this burgundy colour, just a single colour, but you can also easily mix multiple different colours together. Then the beads that I'm using are these 3mm rounds here. Now these specific ones are copper metal spacer beads, but you can really use whatever you prefer. Just make sure that the cord can go through the holes. And then finally I have my findings here, so I'm going to use these cordons to finish off the ends of the piece, and to them I can then attach my findings, so a Lotto Claw clasp and extender chain, of course using the jump rings. Now you can check out the material list in the description box down below along with any links as well, and also if you're new to macrame, I do sell a macrame starter kit that might be useful, and there's also going to be links for that down below there. But otherwise, let's get all the materials ready and let's get started. We then need some lengths of our cord. So first of all I have a length of about 40 centimeters here, and this is going to be the holding cord. And we then also need 6 lengths here of the same cord, and these are about 80 centimeters long each, and these are going to be the working cords. So then the first thing I did here was take my holding cord and I attached that onto my macrame board, so at the notch at the top there, and then I've also loaded some beads onto that cord while then attaching it also on the bottom. So I have my beads ready there as well. So then what we need to do now is actually take all the other working cords and attach them to this holding cord here. And we're going to do that using a simple square knot. So first of all I take one length of my working cord, and then we need to find the middle of this. So I put the ends together so they're even like that, and then where I have my finger here, kind of a little loop, that's the middle. So I keep hold of that, so I can then take one end and bring it underneath the holding cord to then bring that middle point of the working cord in underneath the holding cord there and sit there. I like to kind of just hold it down with my finger, because then we need to make a square knot. So I bring my left one over the holding cord, then the right one comes over that underneath everything in the middle, and then up through the loop here on the other side. And then as I'm pulling this tight, making sure that that middle still stays underneath the holding cord and tightening it. That's the first half of our knot. Then the other half I'm going to start from the opposite side, but otherwise do the same movements, so it's just mirrored. And again I tighten that, and that's now the other half, and we now have a full square knot. And then you can see that it's nice and fastened, and we then have a somewhat equal length there on either side. Now if you're not too familiar with the basic macrame knots, I do have a tutorial where I go through them in more detail. I'm also going to be leaving a link to that in the description box down below. So now we have our first cord attached here, and before I attach the next one, what I actually want to do is push up my very first bead, push it up the holding cord there, just all the way up to sit underneath that knot that we just made. And then once we've done that, I want to then take my next working cord, again find the middle, put the ends together there, and I keep hold of the middle, and then I'm just going to attach this in the exact same way as the first one. So place that middle underneath and then just make a square knot. Now this time underneath, or just below that bead, So basically the bead ends up getting trapped between these two knots. Bring that up there. And then the other half. And tighten that. And then just like to make sure that it's pushed as close together as possible. So just like that. Now put them out to the side. And then before attaching your next one, make sure you push up the next bead. And then grab your next cord and attach it the same way. And keep doing that, alternating between a cord and a bead, a cord and a bead, until you've attached all of the cords. Now I then attach all my 6 cords here, and this is then also where if I was using more than one colour, I would just alternate between the colours as well as I'm adding them in. But then what we need to do now is start getting into the actual pattern of the piece. So before I make any more knots, again I just want to make sure I push up a bead here, because I don't have one below that last knot we made. And I want to make sure that I add a bead between each and every knot that we make. So now that bead is there, to then make the next knot, what we need to start doing is bringing down the top cords to become the new bottom one, but we need to kind of weave them in and out between the other ones in the meantime. So I'm just starting with one side, start on my left side. This top cord, I bring it over the next one, and then the next one down, I bring it underneath, and then over the one after that, and then lift the next one after that up and bring it underneath that, and it then comes over that final one. So I've basically just weaved that top cord over, under, over, under, over, all the way down towards the bottom here. I'm just going to do the same on the other side. Bring it over, and then under, over, and under, and then it naturally comes over that last one. And now I have the top one from either side just coming straight down like this, and this is now the cord on either side we're going to use to make the next square knot with. So as you can see, when we do that, it's going to end up being the new bottom ones. So you just want to make a square knot in the exact same way, making sure the bead is pushed all the way up, and then tighten that. Now it's up to you really how you want yours to be. If you want a tighter look and a bit of a narrower final look to it, you can kind of make it quite nice and tight, get it as close to the beads and the other knots as possible, or you can leave it a little bit looser as you're tightening your knot, and you'll get a little bit more of an open look. So that's completely up to you and what you prefer. So that's the first half, and then I'm just going to do the other half here. Make sure I've tightened that first half and it's the tightness that I want it to have before I then tighten that second half to really seal it in place. Just like that, and then just bring them straight back out to the sides again. So that's the very first knot now that we've gotten into the pattern here. And you can see we're continuing, alternating between knot, bead, knot, bead. So that also means now I need to add up, push up the next bead there to sit underneath the knot that we just made. And then to make the next knot, I need to repeat what we just did. The new top ones, I need to bring them down, but I need to weave them over first of all. So you can see as well, you need to go opposite of where they went previously. This one previously went over the ones that came down, now it needs to go under. So the top one I bring over, under, over, under, and then it comes over the last one down towards the bottom. And on the right side it goes over, under, over, and under as well, and then over that last one. So the exact same as before, but because it's the next one's down, it becomes opposite naturally than the previous time. And again with this, I've already pushed up that bead, and then I just want to make a square knot with these cords. And again, this is where it's down to you how tight you want this for the look to be for your final piece, whether you want it pretty tight or whether you want it a bit more of an open look. Tighten the other half of the knot, and then that's fastened in place as well. And then you just continue like this, basically push up the next bead and always go to the next top cords, top one on either side, and you just keep going over, under, and over, and then make a knot below that bead there. And you keep doing this until you reach the length that you need, minus the length in the beginning here, because what you just got to be aware of, obviously we also need to finish it off, so bearing in mind the length that your clasp is going to add, whatever you choose to do. But this length here of the first, all the 6 cords that we added in, that length of that adds, we just need to stop also and bear that in mind, so we have space still too, because that's how we're then going to finish off all these cords at the end as well. So now I've reached the other end here, then like I mentioned, I just need to bear in mind I need to leave that bit of space, because now what I'm going to be doing is continuing the technique but also then finishing off these cards. So aside from obviously the length that the clasp is going to add, also like I mentioned in the beginning there, that length that we have where we attached all the cards and the beads, you can measure that if you want to, and then you know that that's the length pretty much that you have to leave down on the bottom here as well, because that's what I'm going to be doing now. We're going to start to finish off these cards. Now I'm going to start with that straight away here. So the very final knot that I did, I know I'm at the point where I need to finish them off now. So the knot that I just made, what I want to do is get some glue out here. I'm using this GS Hypo Cement because it dries clear and it's also nice and strong, and also it has this very fine nozzle tip, so it can really just add the glue right on that final little knot and not get it all over. So that is what I want to do. I'm just going to get the glue onto that very last knot that we just made. Now make sure to get it into, you'll find you have kind of a bit of a well right there in the knot, so get the glue into that. And then I also like to go around where the cords are coming out from the knot, because we need to be able to cut off the excess securely, obviously without the knot then coming undone. Now I also just like to flip it over and also do it on the back of the knot, just so we make it as secure as possible. So kind of cover it nicely in glue here, but obviously try and not get it too much all over the rest, so the beads or anything. And then what I do is leave this to dry for a bit, so that while it's still wet here, I don't want to cut it off, just in case the knot can unravel a bit. So I'll just leave it to dry before I cut off the excess. When I then feel like it's dried enough to hold here, so it's kind of dry to the touch, then I'm going to take my scissors and go in and cut off the excess of them. So you want to make sure to cut as close to the knot as possible, obviously without cutting into the knot. So we cut off all that excess cord. Same on the other side. And also being careful not to cut off any of the other lengths yet. So like that. And that's now secure in there. Now what I also just like to do, just for extra security, is take my glue again and then basically just go around where I cut off the cord, just to make sure to really seal it in place. So it's definitely not going to come undone in any way. And then that's now one cord that we got rid of. So I just want to push up the next bead here, because remember we're still following the pattern of alternating between knot, bead. Push that all the way up there. And then go back to the top, still following the same technique as well, to make it as uniform as possible and consistent as possible. The top cord, still weave it over under. So just sort the cords out here. Go over, under, and then over and under. Now obviously we have one less cord to work with now, but you still just keep going with the same technique. The same on the other side. Bring the top one down by going over and under and over and under, just like that. And then we take these two lengths and then make a square knot below the bead that we just pushed up. So you can see, following that same technique, and then make the other half to tighten it, just like that. And now that I'm in this position here, we now need to get rid of the cords that we just used for that last knot. So all you do with that is get the glue out again, add glue to this knot in the exact same way, let it dry for a bit so it's dry to the touch, cut off the excess there, and then you just repeat again. And you keep doing this in the same way, making sure that you weave over under until you don't have any more cords left. And remember also to add the beads still in between the knots. So now I've finished off all the cords here, and you can see on this end where I finished them off, we get this same graduation kind of coming back out to a bit of a point, just like how we started out. So the two ends are similar, but still continuing that pattern in the middle as well. So now what we need to do really is just finish off these ends. So in my case, I'm going to be using these cord ends here, where you just put this holding cord that's running through the whole bracelet into the cord end, and then you clamp down those two sides there. And I always like to add a bit of glue. Now I already have a tutorial where I show how to use these, and also an alternative way that you can finish off your bracelet. It's really up to you how you prefer it, using cord ends or a slide macrame knot or something like that, whatever you prefer, but you just got to finish off those ends, and then once you've done that, you're going to have your finished bracelet. So I now finished off my bracelet here, and I've attached my clasp and extender chain to the ends as well, so it's now ready to wear. And then this is what it looks like. So we get this little effect of the beads running down through the center of the bracelet, almost a bit like a spine, and then we have these woven sections on either side, and as I pull them out you can really see how the cords weave in and out of each other there, giving that really nice effect there all the way along. So this is what the bracelet ends up looking like. So this one here I just used that single color of cord, but you can very easily play around with the amount of colors and also the combination of them. So these are the other two that I've done. The rainbow there, I've used 2 colors, so that's a rainbow cord and then obviously a black cord. And then blue one here in the middle, I've used 3 different colors, so you can really see the different effects that you can get. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Now, if you like jewelry making, I have loads of other tutorials on my channel already. And if you want to make sure you don't miss out future ones, make sure you subscribe as well. But thank you so much for watching this one. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.